Reading from the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, Book 1, Chapter 7, Text 40. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Let's see if it still works in here. It's kind of... I need to turn it. I needed to turn on the fan. Rundhāno veṇu-nādair vartamānāṁ sahālibhiḥ. Rādhikām agrato labdhvā. sa-narma-smitam abravīt. As he continued walking, playing his flute to keep the cows from wandering on, he came upon Śrī Rādhikā with her girlfriends and spoke to her with witty comments and charming smiles. Om timirandasya jnananjana salakaya taksur unmulatam yena tasmai Śrī Gurave namaha. Śrī Caitanya-mano bhishtam stapitam yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati swapadantikam vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, greetings from Moscow. By Krishna's grace, I did not have jet lag, and we already started yesterday. We had program, and today we'll have program. It's Guru Purnima. I think it's the disappearance day of Sanatana Goswami. And because the 6 Goswamis established Vrindavan, and Sanatana Goswami was the guru of the other 6 Goswamis, especially in Vrindavan, that's really where they have their kind of almost Vyas Puja, where people worship their gurus. And some of these big gurus, all day long, they'll be receiving people. So we'll kind of celebrate that here a bit. Yeah, so let's do this story, and I explained. Some of you haven't seen me in 2 weeks, I think, because we missed last Sunday. I believe that was was it last Sunday? No, it wasn't. It was maybe 2 Sundays before. But at least what I've been speaking about is that there's rasa and there's tattva. And tattva is to give us rasa, which is a feeling of our relationship with Krishna. That's why Prabhupada named the Krishna conscious, the movement, the Hare Krishna movement, as the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And Prabhupada brilliantly got the term Krishna consciousness from a verse from Rupa Goswami's Padyavali. Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavato Mati. Mati means the opinion or the mind's focus. Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavato, in the mood of Sri Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Our sentiments towards Krishna, and sentiments are always, the vehicle for sentiments is always relationship. And we know that the prayojana, the goal, there's three aspects to philosophy. I explained this many times. There's the metaphysics and epistemology. What is the truth and how do we know it's true? That's one category, sambandha tattva. Then what is the means for realizing it? Abhideya tattva. And prayojana. What is the goal of realizing that absolute truth? And the goal is prema, pumarta mahan. The greatest goal is a feeling. It's prema. It's our relationship with Krishna. And our goal is to establish that relationship with Krishna. Taramadye, Sarvashreshte, Nama Sankirtan, Nirapati Aparade, Poya Premadan. Of all the practices of devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna is the best. And if we do it by, without offense, we get Krishna Prema. But why our books are the basis? Because without getting that sambandha gyan, that understanding of Krishna, we won't get a feeling for Krishna. And if we don't get a feeling for Krishna, we won't be able to get that absorption in the name of Krishna. But here in our studies, we're very much dealing now with prayojana tattva or prayojana gyan, descriptions of the feelings. And part of our process is by hearing about this, because it is rasa shastra, and what rasa shastra is the embodiment of those feelings in poetry, in drama, in a way that an audience who has understanding and is receptive to it will feel that. And we know, I've been teaching to another group of people. The Shikshastika prayers. And we know that this was Lord Chaitanya's method. Chanting and hearing. I often tell the story, I don't know how often, but some of you have been hearing for a while from me. So a good story may have heard, but it comes again. I was getting into Krishna consciousness and I was in the university. And I was already I'm going to sneeze, 1 second. It's going to be 3 or 4 sneezes. I know how it works. I spilled this powder on my desk, and I think I inhaled it. So I may sneeze a few times. But when I was in the university, I had already met devotees in 1970. This must have been 71. And the devotees from the Brooklyn Temple came. And the old days, there was something about it. I know I was speaking to Kastuba the other day, and his concern how the leadership of Krishna consciousness will continue, because generally all our leaders are people who had that ashram training and experience, and he's very concerned with developing online so people do get that training and maybe get that experience. Otherwise, all the leadership will come from India, where very pious people take to Krishna consciousness, and grihastas, and that atmosphere, and no languages, etc. Maybe without that experience. But anyway, those beautiful American boys and girls, they came right to my student union, and that's like a very open area, and put down right in the student union on a column. It was very open area, no furniture, just an open area, I remember. And they put down a large picture of, is that picture of Radharani, maybe Krishna, Radharani looking at Krishna. It's a beautiful, famous, big picture. And the temple president, first there was kirtan, and they were doing these like blues. I'm not much in musician or know so much, but it was something like this. And there was this lady. She was like a Mama Cass type, and beautiful voice. And she was singing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And it was like when 2 people sing together, leading, and then Hare Rama, beautiful. And then the temple president was Bhavananda, and he was very good leader and had difficulties later on, but he was a good leader and very charismatic. And he sat down and he started to explain the Bhakti Lata Beach. And people were just enthralled. There was so much Shakti, like confidence. And these are all very cool and dynamic people that were joining the Hare Krishna movement. I remember Harikesh, who became one of the big, after Prabhupada, one of the gurus, and did so much incredible work spreading Krishna consciousness here in Russia. And he was just Bhakta Bab. And Bhavananda very dramatically, he described how by the chanting of Hare Krishna, this is a vine growing, the kripa of the Bhakti Lata Bij pierces through the universe and something, and reposes at the lotus feet of Krishna. And later when I read that, Prabhupada said the watering process is chanting and hearing. hearing develops some bandha or relationship. And really to chant with absorption, that connection, because it's a bhakti movement, that connection is relationship. Which is why, I try to be, I guess, I don't say cutting edge, but I remember when I was in Vrindavan, and the book was going around, The 1 Minute Manager. And I wrote principles called the No Minute Manager. I had 10 principles. I'm losing my train of thought. Maybe I am a little jet lagged, but anyway, we'll get into this story and try to feel the story. And this chapter begins with Krishna in kind of a catatonic state, out of deep separation, the power of emotion, deep separation, and empathy for the residents of Vrindavan, which for various reasons, which will be explained later, he's not able to go back. And it just devastates him. I remember Arjuna Prabhu from Bhakti Center. He used to come to my classes in Vrindavan. And one of the points which he really liked was 3 words by Prabhupada. I used to quote this: Krishna is responsive. And love means empathy. It means, I don't know if empathy is the right word, but love means that another person's feelings become your own. Your happiness and distress is based on the happiness and distress of that whom you love. That's real love, to feel that deeply. And in fact, I explained before, maybe I'm not sure what I left off with, but I think it's worth repeating again, that in Vilap Kushmanjali, a bouquet of lamentations by Raghunath Das Goswami, that feeling, there's certain gopis, Manjari, that they're so pure, they don't have the desire for direct. There's 5 types of gopis, and one of them, they have more love for Radha than Krishna. Some have equal love, and some are more for Krishna. Some gopis, I forget what the category is, Priyasaki or something, Pranasaki, and they have more love, and their love is so much that everything that Radharani feels, even physically and emotionally in relationship with Krishna, comes to their bodies. So Krishna is just devastated, which creates great concern for all his close associates and everyone in Dwarka, because they love Krishna. So they're feeling his pain, and they're so concerned. And there's emotion, there's anubhav. When you have emotion, it's expressed. And more powerful than anubhav is sattvika bhav. Sattvika means, anubhav means you do actions out of love. Sattvika bhav means it's involuntary. You're crying, you're stunned, your hairs stand on end. Astika, there's 8 of them. So they're wailing and crying, and then it becomes contagious, and everyone is wailing and crying. Excuse me. And Lord Brahma sees these omens and then tries to find out what's going on. and comes with the demigods and the Vedas and the Puranas, and he comes and he sees Krishna, but he also understands this spontaneity of God, the heart of God. It's so sweet, not just the power of God, but the love of God. It's so sweet. But on the other hand, he's also empathetic. So he collapses on the ground, but he gets up and then saying, what to do. And he makes this plan. This is the way to use your mind. One time I was in Dallas, Prabhupada was there, and he had this room. And if you've been to Dallas, I don't know, some of you may, but right outside of his room is a door with steps that go like down to the street. And Prabhupada was there. I walked by, and Prabhupada was walking back and forth. And his secretary said he's thinking about Krishna consciousness movement, how to plan. That's what's so nice about mission. Mission absorbs you. Prabhupada gave us a mission so people could be absorbed. They can be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So Lord Brahma began to think, that's bhakti. And he has a plan, and he goes to Garuda because he's part of the plan, because there's another Vrindavan, a new Vrindavan between the Raivati hills and the ocean outside of Dwarka. And Garuda fainted. So Balaram and Krishna are laying there, Garuda is laying there. He somehow wakes up Garuda, and he says, take Krishna Balaram on your back and take them to New Vrindavan. Obvious plan is, if Krishna thinks he's in Vrindavan, the cause of his emotion and his distress and the bhava, I described it, mrita, near death out of love, will be subsided. And he tells Rohini, you can come, because if Krishna sees you, he'll feel that he's in Vrindavan. The queens, you stay back. Krishna will know this is just a ruse. And they go back, and then when they get there, Balaram is revived, and Garuda and Balaram put Krishna on a bed, and there's these beautiful wax statues, and it's beautiful. It's a whole Braj. My god sister, Jagatarini, the wife of Burijan Prabhu, she makes little miniatures and dioramas. She get them made in Vrindavan, and these little miniatures and dioramas. And she made them of all the pastimes of Krishna. And they have an estate. One of Burijan's disciples got in an accident, and the money that he got, he gave. The money that he got, one second. One second. I have to plug this in, okay. The money that he gave, they got an estate. Burijan lives in a cabin in the woods, but they turned it into a diorama project of all Braj Leela and made it into a museum, and they get tours. And what happened is the ambassador to India went there from Australia or something. And he told the prime minister, and when this prime minister did his weekly presentation to the nation, he did it about that. So you can imagine Vishwakarma and Krishna's there, and now they're trying to create the scene. And they're talking as if Krishna has, wake up, you're late. The cows are waiting. Your mother is here. She's devastated. And then Balaram even takes him off the bed and starts to drag him around, and they're trying to wake him up, and eventually they do. And they're talking, your mother is so upset. Anyway, they put butter in her hand. He takes the butter, and Rohini comes and understands, I'll cook for you, and go out with the cows or meet the cows. I don't think the cows would leave without Krishna. And now he's walking, and they've convinced him. So they brought him out of this catatonic state with the understanding that you're now in Vrindavan. And I'm not sure if it's before or after, but I think he said, he told his mother-in-law, I'll tell you later, but I had this long, long dream about being in Dwarka and marrying so many queens. And so he was saying like that. So this is, and what's happening now is demonstrated here in the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. As you remember, it was progressive stages of bhakti from different perspectives and different devotees, progressively higher and higher, to get that understanding of bhakti so you in the audience can see it, not just in Aishvarya, in God's position, but as in his sweetness. And so this sweetness of Krishna is being presented now, which is that tasya parama antim, that last stage of transcendence, the goal of the whole Bhagavatam, of which is to understand. And somehow or other, this is probably in our heart, and therefore Krishna arranged up for us, our souls, to be in this universe and get the association of pure devotees who have those feelings in their heart. This is an extraordinary thing. We don't realize our fortune, that somehow or other Vrindavan is internally in our heart. That's our nature. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes it as we're now ice. Water is in ice, but it's not manifest. You can't drink with ice, you can't clean with ice, you can't cook with ice, you can't bathe with ice, but water is there, and you have to put the environment where the liquidity comes out. Just like I read this thing about the hottest place on earth. The hottest place on earth was Death Valley. The temperature, the highest recorded temperature, was 136. 136 degrees. And for 40 days, there was only 1 inch of water. And then one year, 6 inches of rain came. 6 inches of rain came. And they were shocked. They came, and Death Valley was lush with so many flowers. And so it was there. Or if you look at the tropics, I visit Kali. It's the same temperature. It's within 2 degrees or 3 degrees of 70 degrees Fahrenheit, of 90 degrees Fahrenheit every day the whole year. And there's water there. Is there ice in that water? It'll never manifest. Potentially it's there. So that's us. We have a relationship with Krishna. And we just need the environment. We need the environment to bring that nature out. So we're very fortunate to come to this tradition, because it generally means that our souls have some connection with this, and therefore God has, beyond our own ability, has put us in the situation and the time, the cosmic time in history, put us in that minute of Lord Brahma's day, where we're born the same time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born, the same time Krishna has been born. One second. I wanted to make a note of that. So somehow or other, we have this fortune, and we should take advantage of this fortune. So now, this is Rasika. Krishna's walking. He loves the cows. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanihitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Someone tell me what time it is there, because I'm screwed up. I don't even have the time here. Oh, wait. I know what time it is. It's 8:40. Wow, we didn't get very far, and I have a class. So Krishna is walking. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishna. He loves the cows. Playing his flute to keep the cows from wandering off. His heart is expressed in his, and he came upon Radhika, her girlfriends, and spoke to her with witty comments and charming smiles. And we'll see that the queens of Dwarka are watching this. In fact, we know they came in camouflage, and Garuda is overhead to block, because it's the midday sun. He's blocking with his wings, and Narada is sitting there hiding out of fear that he's committed offense by stirring up this emotion that they're feeling. Sri Nandanandan has said, "O mistress of my soul, why don't you speak to me, your devotee, whom you now met in a secret place? Why are you so busy? What are you so busy with, proud lady?" Because they're statues, they won't talk. But Krishna is still at Adha Chaitana, half consciousness. He's still in half consciousness. How did I offend you, O omniscient one? You must know everything that happened today in my dream. So he's still thinking that the Dwarka thing is a dream. So it's success, because the Dwarka life was one of separation, and now he's thinking of that as it was just a dream, so it's not affecting him emotionally. I left you and went elsewhere in that distant place. I married many princesses who had been preparing to end their lives and fathered sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons, but he's Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam, Novayovanam cha, Nova, young, Yuvanam, youthful, always youthful. Anyway, right now I have to go to the forest. Tonight at dusk, O bestower of satisfaction, you will enjoy with me. Parikshit continued, having said this, Krishna threw a handful of flowers at Śrī Rādhikā, looked around and then embraced and kissed her. He then went ahead to meet cows and cowherd boys. So he's not in full consciousness yet. As Devaki saw for the first time how wonderfully and all attractively Krishna was dressed for Vraja, and how he was playing his flute, milk started flowing from her breasts in great love, even though she was no longer young. Purport: Krishna has special ecstatic feelings for his devotees, as described in previous verses. This is the ultimate greatness of God. Reciprocally, Krishna's devotees have incomparable affection for him, which they each show in their own individual ways. Rukmini, Jambavati, and other queens, bewildered by an intensity of love they had never felt before, lost their composure, fainted, and fell to the ground. So they became so bewildered. Purport: Krishna's queens were all noble ladies, careful to behave seriously in public. But the exceptional attraction they at this moment felt for Krishna defeated their gravity. They were accustomed to seeing Krishna dressed as a prince, not as a cowherd. Now they can no longer control their emotion, and finally cannot even retain their outward consciousness. So Krishna is all attractive, and we know when Radharani went to Kurukshetra, she wasn't happy because Krishna was dressed as this prince, and there was a certain formality in that relationship, even with the queens, because he was still the king. So that patriarchal type of relationship, even though Satyabhama, would argue and get angry, but still there was some formality, there was some must, obligation, fear. In love, there's a fear in love when there's great respect for someone. You may be a little nervous. Even old Padmavati became intoxicated, driven by lust. She, as well as Satyabhama, act out, embracing Krishna again and again, and ran after him, arms extended, trying to catch him. So people were going mad, seeing that degree of love. Kalindi, the daughter of the sun god, had seen Krishna like this before, because Jamuna took birth as a queen in Dwarka, also manifest. Being very intelligent, she somehow calmed herself down. She and Uddhava grabbed Sadmavati and Padmavati and dragged them back. They're going to ruin the whole thing. Purport: Queen Kalindi in Dwarka and the river Jamuna in Vrindavan are one and the same person. Thus, she alone among the Dwarka kings had known Krishna during his cowherd days. This is at least the external reason why Kalindi in this situation was able to stay sober. But the fact is that she also had to struggle to remain calm just to help Brahma carry out his plan for dispelling Krishna's bewilderment. Kalindi caught hold of Satyabhama and Uddhava caught Padmavati. Meanwhile, Lord Govinda went ahead tending his cows. When he saw the ocean before him, he thought it was the Jamuna, and with delight called his friends to play in the river. So we're going to stop here because now what's going to happen, we're really getting to the end, so hang on to your seats and don't miss this, is Krishna is going to look at that Jamuna, but then see the city of Dwarka being bewildered, and Balaram tells him basically you have duties and brings him into the consciousness of the king of Dwarka, and he goes back. And his interaction with the queens, especially Satyabhama, who objected, she was a little upset. And Krishna tells exactly why he didn't go back and why these devotees are the most exalted. Maybe 10 minutes, I have a program, but it's really, it's beautiful here where I stay. It's a gated community with beautiful parks. And it seems like the status of Russians are their cars, because it's all, I walk in the morning and it's all Mercedes, BMWs, Land Rovers, etc. But they tell me, there's nice houses where people live here. And this is about 25 minutes from the city, and Wednesday I'll go into the city near the Kremlin where Neelam Bari, I'll stay over there, they have a program. So it's nice. In this place I'm staying in, the history is interesting, is that I was in Vrindavan in Kartik chanting, and it was like really, and I had a room, and it was all, in the ISKCON palace, it was all cow dung, it was very mystical. And my friend Jagadish, some of you know him from Mayapur now, he was developing his family, his business, and he was touring Russian people around. And it was a very kind of high-end group of people. And he brought them to my room, and I gave them something. They were going to go on Govardhan Parikram. And it was all ladies with a few men, but painted toenails, like that kind, and gold shoes, whatever it is, whatever the style was. So they went around. At the end, I met them, and then inevitably, one Russian lady said, "I want to go to Radha-kund. Take me to Radha-kund." So Jagadish said, I said, well, okay, let them come back in 2-3 days. They came back, and I told them how unqualified they were. I was very heavy. But I said, I'll take you to Radha-kund, we'll do the Prikram, if you promise to do Kirtan the whole way. So they did Kirtan the whole way, and somehow or other, they were humble, they begged mercy, I gave some permission to touch Radha-kund, whatever it is. And it was a deep spiritual experience. And when we got back in the Prikram, we finished half the Prikram, one of the ladies just was stunned. So after that, I was to do a retreat in Israel at the Sea of Galilee. But there was some kind of war going on but you wouldn't know it in Israel. But there was a war going on, one of their wars. So this lady was desperate to come again because she got that experience. So she couldn't go. She just had her son. I saw her son here now, 18 years, tall, so handsome, so well-behaved, so polite. I think some of you from Jersey know because they came, but he's grown up in such a beautiful way. I mean, the demigod, but how polite and serious he is now going to college. And she was 2, and her husband and her father said, so she was disappointed. She said, I will bring you here. So she paid my ticket to Russia. And they had to rent out halls for me to speak. And it was such a hassle to rent out halls. And her father was very high up in the military. So even when I met her father, he said that she tells us what to do. She's very, very competent. So she decided it's too much. So she decided she would make her own place. And then in the building she was living, she had, in this gated community, there's like a little apartment. She bought this huge apartment downstairs and made it into a spa with Ayurvedic massage, yoga teachers, etc., different things. And that was very beautiful. And even Sacinandana Swami came and he said, oh my God, wow, this is beautiful. But then she was walking in this community and she saw a huge building that was maybe default on the mortgage, but it was just a shell of the building. And she somehow sold that and bought that and then really supervised the construction. You saw the pictures of the white sandstone and downstairs. It's beautiful. And she made these quarters for me. And I was coming twice a year. When there was no war, I would take Aeroflot to India, and she's 10 minutes from the airport, and I would stay here. So I have a few very nice people here. And I used to just rest when I was here. I would do programs every night, practically, actually. But now also, because they passed a law that you can't propagate religion on a tourist visa. So we don't really advertise. Worst comes to worst, they just deport you. They don't necessarily. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. People are coming, or?
What's that?
People are coming now?
Coming, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Take your
Okay, all right. Yeah, they deport you, that's all. But I'm not, that happens when you advertise and you put it on the internet. There's going to be no internet to what I do. So mostly it's just people and friends I know. And, but it's nice. I'll go and these people, his great-grandfather was the most famous opera singer. And the Tsar gave his grandfather this apartment. So it's huge ceilings and all things from his grandfather. But they hold kirtans there on Wednesday night. I'll go there and I'll stay over. And and I'll visit one small place nearby, and then I'll go again to this city, and then these people I know in St. Petersburg, they invited me, so there's a special train 4 And they sent us business class ticket and the Nutcracker. I, I said maybe next time I'll go. I'll bring Jai. But I will tour the city. They say it's the most beautiful city. Boat. I'll do that stuff during the day just to get an experience. Night and but I haven't been here for 4 years, so really nice. That there's a world community on internet. You know, the governments may be clashing and then they get people to fight, but everything goes on quite normally, you know, among the people. And it's interesting, even though they passed that law, I could send you a video. They have a beautiful Harinam. They just got to get legal permission. A beautiful Harinam with, you know, girls dressed up nice in saris and proper sound system and 70 people dancing through the streets of Moscow. So there's no problem like that. So it's not like it's oppressive against Hare Krishna. And the interesting thing is, I came in with my American passport. I got a visa in America, and I was dressed, if you saw the picture of me, like a American businessman. Actually, I just told Bṛhad Radha, look at Henry and make me look like him. So she got me just nice clothes. And I saw before that sometimes they were looking at people's passport and then they would send them to get checked. You know, but I knew I had a right visa. They already vetted me and I had the address of the people. So I know it wasn't really, but I was expecting at least something. But no, they just looked at my passport, did things, and then you know, let me through. And that picture that you saw, I got off the plane. That was 20 hours on the plane. Oh, it was 20 hours with 2 hours in between. And I got off, and yeah, it's been nice. Okay. A few people say hello. They told me I have a few more, 10 more minutes before the class. Anybody want to say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here. Great you made it there.
Oh, Tota, Haribo.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gumaraj. It's Lal Govinda.
And Bṛhad, thank you for class.
Thanks for class.
Glad you got there safe.
It's no problem. It's all paranoia on the internet. Anyway, from Russia with love. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Gail here.
Okay, Gail, you want to throw a trick question to me?
Yeah. It's not trick though. Why did Garuda have to hide the sun with his wings?
Why did he have to what?
Hide the sun.
Because the sun was bearing down on Krishna. So he was giving him shade. It was the middle of the day. Krishna was supposed to leave early in the morning for the forest, but it was already 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it was already 11 o'clock. So by hiding the sun,
he was shading them, not hiding the sun, covering Krishna from the sun. like an umbrella.
Yeah, but you said, you know, it was already 11 o'clock. So.
Yeah. So the sun was out.
So to make him feel like it was earlier in the day, probably.
No, so he wouldn't get burnt by the sun.
Oh, only for that.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned that he was late. You know, it was already 11 o'clock.
He
I thought
was late. Yeah, Krishna would go earlier with the cows in the morning. So now the sun was out. So before he supposedly got to the forest,
Okay.
covered by the trees, he
Mhm.
covers them.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you very much for the class.
Yavat Sundari, Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
of course. I know you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're in Tehran?
Yes, I am still in Tehran, yeah.
You work in Tehran?
Well, I had some problem. I'll write to you and say what happened, yeah,
Okay.
later. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, it's Yvette. Thank you so much for class.
Nice to see you. Yeah, you know, I'm expecting that I come down to the program and you're there.
I know, right?
Every program you show up, so I'm just expecting. How did you do this, Yvette? You're following me around everywhere.
You know, I stalk you everywhere, Maharaj.
I crossed the ocean. You can't do it now. Okay. Anybody else?
Yudhisthira Maharaj, my obeisances, Haribol.
Haribo. You like that architecture that lady made from that building? I saw you.
So impressive.
Oh my God. She's so together. She imported sandstone, even downstairs they have a spa, all Rajasthani furniture and everything. It's really, it's 4 stories. The bottom story is like a spa. And up here is just my room and other rooms with separate bathrooms for guests and things. The top 2 floors is for her family. Yeah. I met her father, and he was like the father was Muslim. Her husband was Jewish, and her mother was Christian. So I met her father, you know, and he was like a Russian bear, you know. So like I met the father, and I had it translated, and I said, you know, if she comes under my guidance, her first duty is to be a better daughter, a better wife, and a better mother. He went, rah. After that, he was they would come to see me, you know, but yeah.
Good diplomacy.
The military is a very high position in these countries, especially if you're an officer. So, okay.
Be safe. Haribol.
Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, is Gita. Thank you for class.
Hey, Haribo, Gopi Gita, Hare Krishna. Good to see you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, good to see you.
Hey, your son. That's so nice. Hare Krishna. Good.
He's showing you his bus.
Wow. Beautiful child. Thank you. Haribo.
Very well.
Good. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Ishvari. Glad you made it safe.
Are they organizing that program? Is that working out at your place? Was that?
I gotta connect with Śrī Rūpa.
Well, it's, you know, we got to get it going, because if it's going to be next week, people want to know in advance. Okay.
Right.
Maybe she's trying to get some speakers she hasn't gotten that yet.
I think that's what's happening, yes. It's a bit short notice, yeah.
Okay, let's see what happens. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Śrī Rūpa. I'm working on it. It's just there are some conflicts that weekend. There's Gita-nagari Rath-yatra and
Oh, okay.
a picnic.
Okay, it's not going to work if it's Gita-nagari Rath-yatra, right? Okay.
Right.
All right, we tried, right?
I'll make it for another date.
What about the next weekend?
I'll contact Sri Prahlad because he's back from Australia then.
Okay, well, we'll see. If not, we're gonna just, if not the next week, we'll just keep on trying. The next week we'll do my thing, but the idea is that even when I'm not here, we're gonna keep our Sanga going. Okay, that's okay. If not next week, it'll just be a break until I come back, and then we'll have a series of programs. Anyway, okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Wow, I'm so honored. The Vaishnav Motorcycle Association. Where are you guys?
We're in the Adirondacks of New York. It's our campsite by the lake.
Wow, it seems exciting, right?
Yeah,
lots of fun.
You guys are earthmen. I'm still an alien, but I can understand it must be so great to be out in nature and ride your bikes, you know.
Yeah.
Are you going to visit something Krishna or anything, maybe Bhakti Bandhav or anything like that work out? Or?
That didn't really work out, but
okay,
we've been reading and doing a lot of katha and stuff at night.
Okay, great. Well, you're on the class. Great. Okay, Haribo, thanks. Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta here.
Oh, Haribo. Okay. Jai. Great. Thank you. We'll see if we can get something else for you. It's a miracle that we've had the internet. Keep on going. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Janava Thakurani. Glad to see you again.
Thank you so much, Janava Thakurani. Haribo.
Haribo.
Good. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for your class.
Thank you so much for attending. Great. Okay. Okay. One more?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Hemalata Radha. Thank you so much for class.
Haribo, thank you. Great. Okay. I guess I will leave by now. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhevascha patitana pavanebhyo vaishnava